Coming from a married couple who investigates all things supernatural, most people forget one side of investigating, the everyday human side. Before investigating, they had to learn everything that's involved with cases, all the while balancing their marriage, family life, friendships, and work life. Twisted Ascensions brings an inside look at how their marriage works on and off cases, spreading the knowledge they've learned over the years about trauma, drug abuse, dealing with spiritual gifts, protection work, and so much more. Dive into the world of a paranormal couple that doesn't shy away from hard questions, but rather offers raw and unfiltered answers. Listen to the good, bad, and ugly stories of various topics and hear from other investigators, past clients, and colleagues within the field. Now, your host of Twisted Ascensions, Caden and Allisa Mask.
Let's go.
Hi, guys.
It's been way too long. If you don't know who we are, my name is Caden.
I'm Allisa.
Welcome to the Murder Folks. Come to you live from the hollers of Mississippi. We just told you who we are. We are the founders of Southern Ascension. We are a married couple. We've been in the field for quite a few years. We've been together for 10, been in it on and off for at least 8 of those.
Together.
Seriously for 6 of it. And then before that, we both did things.
In and out.
But
for a long time, I didn't even know if paranormal
really
teams were a thing.
Did not.
We didn't know
at all.
that was a thing.
But we're back. We had to take a little time off, and we're going to just basically jump right in it. If you're tuning in, make sure you share this live out. Give us a thumbs up. We appreciate it. I know Todd appreciates it. Everybody at the WLTK-DB talk show appreciates it.
And they're all phenomenal.
For sure.
Our boss man is pretty cool.
We do. We do have one of the greatest boss men ever.
Yes.
But we had to go on a break. We've done podcasts many times over the years. We decided we wanted to do our own, so we did. And then it's like everything 2023 could throw at us, did throw at us within a very short amount of time.
But it's no surprise. And for some people that have known us, like that have followed the last 3 years of our lives.
Oh, for sure.
So like the last year is not a shocker in our world to people.
It just usually is spread out all year instead of
yeah. It was like 6 months of wham bam thank you ma'am.
Yeah, no, it was ooh-wee.
It was
how dare 2023, because it really did hammer. So we'll kind of give you
came in with the audacity.
It really did. It was one of those, the audacity.
Actually, before it even came in, it was ending with the audacity. If you really want to think about it, from like
2022 is definitely a F you. 2023 is F me. Like that's how those 2 years kind of played out.
We've learned a lot though.
Oh,
high five on the growth.
Yes. So
love that.
The beginning of the year, those of you that don't know, I'm going to kind of give you a recap, and then we're going to talk about what happened, what was going on, what happened while we were gone from the show, and kind of what to look forward to in the future. And then if we blow through all that pretty swift-like, and in true us fashion, it's either going to happen or we're just going to ramble.
Yeah.
So,
well, there's a lot of people that were a part of this when we first started it on this network, and they were here, the night that we talked about, it was at the very beginning of when we started this with Todd, and we talked about the last 3 years of our life.
Oh, man.
How wild they were. And
they
little did we know that we were on our way. To so much more.
So beginning of the year, January the 7th, I ended up losing part of my finger, which everything's all good now. It's just a little shorter than what it's supposed to be, that one. But I ended up losing it. Had to have emergency surgery that day to reattach it, or try to reattach it, try to fix it and save it. That was about a 3-month ordeal with that, because I had to do physical therapy, learn how to move my finger again. I can't feel anything in this finger from the tip of it. So from here up, it's just dead. From here, the middle portion's okay. Down here, I got full feeling. But yeah, lost it. I do not have a bone from there up either. So that's just a little fun tidbit. In amongst all of this, though, back November of 2022, we found out after Alyssa's grandmother passed away that her mom had lung cancer.
That was in October.
That was October?
It was
I thought
October.
it was November.
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay.
Though it all runs together.
It does. So October, we found out that Alyssa's mom has cancer. She was going back through chemo and chemo once a week, radiation 5 times a week, right?
Yeah.
So at the beginning of the year, she was going to get another PET scan, which is when this happened as well.
It all happened
all happened super fast. So January, I lost my finger. February, she had her PET scan. And it was undetermined at the time because they were left with more questions than answers.
It was very grim.
It was very grim. We're hoping for the best, but preparing for the worst, basically.
It's like starting all over, kind of.
Yeah. So they put her on another month of chemo and radiation.
We did extra treatments, yeah.
Yeah, extra treatments. So another month of chemo and radiation between that. To fast forward to now with her mom, the tumor has shrank.
Yes. Not to be confused with in remission, which anybody that's been around communication around cancer, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not to be confused with that, but we are hopefully well on our road to that within the next 12 months of everything. But we have to finish immunotherapy and do a lot of things. But I mean,
My beard looks horrible. I'm sorry.
Still a part of chemotherapy, and it comes with a lot of side effects, and it's a year-long process. It's just part of it. But the hard part and the anxiety and waiting and constant fear is down a lot now with where we're at with all of that. It's just a lot better.
It's going up and up and up, and that's what we're kind of grateful for.
Yes,
very grateful for that. So, starting back again through all of this, we had the Coliseum. We had started working on it in the end of 2022.
You had a death in your family.
Yeah, you had 2 deaths. I had a death.
Yeah,
and it just kind of happened. But we were working at the Corinth Coliseum, which is it's 100-year. It'll be turned. It turned 100 years this year.
Mm-hmm. It'll
be official 100 years next year, 2024. Because it was 1924 when it was done construction.
Yeah.
So it's 99 years old. It's the oldest standing theater in Corinth, Mississippi. It's the second oldest in Mississippi, I believe. But we've always heard rumors growing up that it was haunted. A lot of workers, whatever. You know it. You know what I'm talking about. You hear rumors, you go.
Especially if you're from a small town.
You hear rumors, you go, and it turned out to be really cool. So we ended up signing contracts with the director of the Coliseum and the director of education and music that were involved with it. And this was the first time that we actively were doing contracts and wanting to open up a new paranormal destination location for people to come in, for teams all around the world to come and investigate. And that was just supposed to be the start, the Coliseum. We planned on doing other locations around Corinth. So when we signed the contracts with them, we thought we were good. Very naive, and it was a hard-bought lesson, but that was not the case. We should have done a little bit more digging to find out the chain of command when it comes to locations and premises, and who owns the building and who runs the building are 2 completely different things. In this situation, it was the mayor, or the city of Corinth owns the Coliseum, and the mayor was all for it, but the art council runs the Coliseum, and they were not. Some of them were, some of them weren't. The majority weren't, apparently. But to be just blunt and straight through the bullshit, really, we got screwed.
To be fair, a lot of people did.
Yeah, a lot of people got screwed because we put in months and hard work of networking just to get it out there.
That was just our thing.
Yeah, that was just our thing. Making sure that we had all the proper contracts, and I'm not just talking about typing up a liability waiver saying if you get hurt, we're not liable. No, we had an attorney type out contracts for everything: filming, property damage, insurance, NDAs when it came to certain things. And also we had contracts where there was a percentage. The Coliseum got I'll go ahead and tell you, Coliseum was getting 70% of all proceedings, and we were getting 30%. But in our contract, our 30% was being used to buy equipment for
we
this
weren't
event.
even like taking on the road with us. It was staying there.
Yeah. I mean, it was basically to cover our gas money to and from all the events that we had rostered for this year.
Because we no longer live in that town. I mean, we did used to. A lot of people that followed us from way back in the day know that we did used to live there. We don't anymore. And, you know, there were times where you would have to kind of leave work a little early and go down there and do things. And I'm not saying this because I feel like I have to justify why we kept that amount. But I do want it to be noted that in my personal, and I will say it again, personal and humble opinion, that amount, if you are in this industry and you know how very quickly a piece of $600 equipment can get broken, and you understand that there are only very small avenues to ensure that kind of money that you put into this equipment. And when you're hosting events like that, it's a gamble that you take.
Yep.
And had that happened at the first, just to give an example, had that happened at the first 4 events, even with the percentage that we were getting, it wouldn't have been enough to replace one of probably 5 pieces of equipment that we have that are of that magnitude when it comes to price. Like, we would have had to work for a couple more months to replace one piece that could have gotten broken. So that money, the goal with that was like, we're just going to be hopeful that in a year nothing happens. And at the end of that year, we have the money to buy more stuff so that next season, you know,
like this 2023 is supposed to be our trial year. We wanted to at least hit 10 events for this year. We had booked and spoken for 14 events with 12 pending.
That shit
14 events
like wildfire,
and then 12 pending on days. When I tell you that it was not a moneymaker for us, because I know a lot of people are like, you guys said you would never charge. Events are a different thing. You have to think, though, the way that I was charging, or that we decided to charge, the 4 of us at the time collectively, it was the cheapest location in probably 100 miles or better for the hours that you get and the freedom that you get with it.
Yeah, because like the NDA stuff, I'll go ahead and lay this out there. The stuff that we were doing was nothing that's
Can you tell that we're a little sour about it? FYI.
Was not uncommon. And I will say there's nobody that I can think of that we discuss things with, especially in the field, that already was part of this field and wasn't a beginner. I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. Beginners are awesome. We love you all. I'm saying somebody that has paid money and went somewhere, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't think we ever had anybody illy speak of the stuff that we had wrote up, because as we said back when we were doing the podcast before, both of us sat down together, and at first we didn't agree, and we didn't hide that. Like, I was not okay with certain things and you were not okay with certain things, because at certain places we had been, the personal experience we had.
Yeah.
So I was like, well, if I'm paying money when I go somewhere, I expect
to be able
the
to do
decency of this and this and this, especially if I'm paying this amount of money.
Yep.
And this is the only time frame I have. So yes, I do expect to be able to do. So like that's how we set those around. And like the NDA thing that Caden's talking about was quite literally, without going into like a whole bunch of details, you couldn't leave there and talk a bunch of shit.
Yeah.
And there not be repercussions for it. You couldn't leave there and go around telling people there was demons there and you caught this on camera and that's exactly what that is, because you got your certificate online and you know. Like you couldn't do that without repercussions.
It was basically, I know that labeling it NDA is weird, but that was the according to our attorney, that was the best way for us to word what we were trying to convey. That was just to make sure that false information would not get out and that nobody could fabricate any type of videos or any type of historical facts and not have repercussions. So that covered us, and that covered the Colosseum, and that covered the city of Corinth, to keep from the Christians from saying that we're conjuring demons.
Well, it wasn't just that.
Or doing that. But
it also gave people creative freedom because, to be honest, if they wanted to, and I'm just being honest, with the paperwork we had, they could have worked their way around it, as long as in their videos and stuff, it did not mention the name of where they were at, or in the video nowhere gave away that location where somebody could watch that video and understand it was that location, or gain anything from that video, that it was that particular location they were at.
Yeah.
If they wanted to, they could have. I'm not saying anybody did, because they didn't, but
you know, basically we made sure that we thought that we had covered all of our avenues.
Mm-hmm.
Turns out a series of unfortunate events, quite literally, that we weren't involved in, we weren't a part of it. It had absolutely nothing to do with us or the paranormal. Like, literally the complete opposite. But
facts,
our very first, like, we had events, but it was our very first private event. A team came down from Tennessee and they paid their money. There was a beauty pageant that was going on and that we knew that was going to be ahead of time.
It's Mother's Day weekend.
Was it Mother's Day weekend?
It was Mother's Day
weekend. Mother's Day weekend.
Because we had brunch.
Yeah.
That day.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
So there was a beauty pageant going on. We went in an hour early because sometimes they get done, sometimes they run over. So I wanted to make sure at least we were picking up a little bit so it wasn't that big of a hassle when they got there. So we go in and I'm, introducing myself. I'm like, hey, we have an event right after you guys. You don't have to worry about locking the front doors or shutting off all the lights. I'll make sure we do that. Just cut off, they had laser lights going on. I was like, just cut those off and you can cut the intercom system off, but we got the rest of it. And so it comes to an end, and the projection kid that was up there, he came down and he's got his phone and he says, hey, I'm on the phone with, and he gave me his name. He says, you're not allowed to be here. Well, number one, I'm basically saying, I don't know who this person is, but the director, Patrick, I can assure you we're on the docket. We're on the books and it's paid for. And yes, we do have the right to be here. It's okay. We have the permission.
Freeze. Meg, we sat and watched it. Continue.
Yeah, we did. Yeah. So the kid was trying to play middleman, and I was just like, hey, and I wasn't being rude. I was honestly starting to freak out a little bit because I don't know who this guy is. And this kid clearly understands that who he's talking to is a big wig that I don't know. So I was like, all right, let me just chill the hell down. So I'm like, can I just borrow your phone? And I get on the phone, talk to the guy for a second, and it turns into this big thing. And I'm like, you know what? Just call my cell phone so I can give this kid his phone back and me and you can talk. I had to tell Alyssa what was going on and tell the team what was going on. I'm like, just give me a minute. Let me figure it out. What I was getting fed by the member of the Arts Council was that they had, and this was a newer member, they had no idea about the paranormal events. They had no idea who we were. They had no idea that there was money being made on these events. Yada, yada, yada. You get the story, right? Like this guy was saying that they had no idea what was going on. And I'm like, that's a little impossible in my brain because the president of your board has been in communication.
It's like, I'm so confused right now.
Like, I didn't talk to him personally, but I was there while he was on the phone talking to the director that we worked with, that he knows what's going on. He was totally cool with it. He was good with the percentages, whatever. It went back and forth. I was beyond frustrated because then I started really thinking, because I'm human. Who do I believe? Were we being lied to this whole time? Was that even the president that was on the phone, or was it just, I'm human. I really thought about those.
You were super calm too. I will give it to you, because all of this is happening, right? And it's happening in real time. When I say we are adjusting to like the highs and lows of what's happening in front, like all of this is happening in like 5 minutes, right? And some of y'all know me and some of you don't. And I will forever probably say this, and it's toxic, but I am always healing. I don't think I will ever be fully healed.
We're not healed. We are in a state of healing constantly.
And when you're doing something that I know is going to send my husband like over, like there's repercussions for this. I know there is, like something's bad's going to happen. I'm pretty mouthy. I mean, I just get real mouthy.
No, nobody would gather watching our shows.
Listen, I'm working on it. I am working on it. Once again, if you don't know me now, you know I'm working on it. I'm trying. But at this point in time, that little journey had just started. And that poor little kid that was in that sound booth was talking real loud. And Caden got a little loud. So I got real concerned, and I go running over there. And then Caden looks at me, and he's like, get in the truck right now. And I'm like, no, I want to know. And he's like, no. And he's like, get our stuff that you can see, grab it and go. And I'm still at this point, like, I'm not wanting.
We still don't have full answers.
No, like nobody knows what's happening. But I do know that there's a whole team of people that have drove a good minute to be here. And they're about to be mad if what I think I'm hearing is correct, right? So I am upset because my husband is visibly upset. I don't know what's going on. He really does not have the time in trying to adjust to what's happening. He's on the phone with this guy. And at this point, I still don't know who Caden's talking to. I don't know who this kid is that's yelling in this booth, but he knew who I was by the time we left. And then I felt bad because come to find out, he really was just trying to do what he was told. Yeah.
And he was just a high school kid making some extra money.
Yes.
I mean, and I ended up, so I talked to the guy and I ended up calling the director. Like I said, at this point, the stuff that the chairman is telling me doesn't match up, but it's some pretty in detailed stuff where I'm like, there's no way you know that and not know something I don't know. So at this time, naturally, I'm trying to figure out who's right in the situation.
Right.
Which made me feel bad there for a little bit, because anytime you're put in a situation where it makes you question a friendship, like it's a crap situation. Anybody that's ever dealt with that, I mean, you know what I'm talking about. Like something happens and it makes you just question a little bit, and you're after the fact, when you get the whole story, you're like, why did I even think that? But we're human. It happens. Right. Listen. So fast forward, we get it situated. The director got a hold of the president. The president said, y'all can do the event tonight, and that they were going to talk about it that following week to figure something out. Because like I said, at this time, there had already been a bunch of stuff that's happened that didn't involve us between staff members and people in the public and staff members.
That, like, amongst all of this going on, that didn't have anything to do with us.
We were a separate entity.
And I did take ownership of my mouth, because anybody that also knows me and knows that I will run it knows that I will take ownership of it. Like, I'll be like, yeah, it's me.
Yeah.
And I apologized, and I was wrong. Like I just told y'all, I was wrong. I felt bad. It was a high school kid. He was doing what he was told to do. I didn't know that. But, I mean, once I learned that, I did apologize. I felt bad.
Everything was good. We ended up putting on the event that night. I mean, it got to where I had already been paid, and I turned around and gave them full money back, like their money back, plus I gave them $50 or $60 for gas to get back home. And then the little projection kid, just because like he was awesome. He stayed there the whole time, and he was just doing his thing, and he was learning. He got to be involved in some very adult conversations and business wise. And I tipped him like $10.
No, it was more than that. I think you gave him a $20 bill.
I might have gave him 20.
I think you did.
But he got tipped too, just for having to deal with the bullshit.
Yeah,
okay?
Caden was like, I am so sorry.
So we put on the event, everything we thought was going to be okay. Like, we're going to have to, at that time, me and Alyssa had already told them, like, we've got to sit down with the board members next and the president so that we know everybody is on the same page, because this cannot happen again. That was Saturday. So Monday,
I call.
Alyssa calls.
And he didn't answer. He sure didn't answer. Didn't. Check your time.
Yeah. So, just quick, like, Monday, the next week comes around, and everybody had been fired. All the directors. The
doors were locked.
And I got a phone call from the same chairman that told me that until further, that they were shutting. This is what he told me, word for word. The doors to the Coliseum will remain closed until further notice, pending renovations, which I knew was a load of shit, because once you fired the director, I knew that funding was going away. There would be no renovations. And I was right. But that he told me that they were not interested in continuing paranormal events, nor would they in the future, because trust me, I did everything but beg. Like, just take some time. Let's revisit this in a couple of months. Let's revisit this in a year, whatever. No, they were, we do not want any part in it. We don't want that at our place. Thank you for what you did. You didn't leave a bad taste in our mouth. You guys were very professional. We appreciate it, but this is where we end, and nobody in the paranormal is welcome back. Left it at that. And with that, we're going to go to our first break real quick before we jump into the next hour, because y'all guys, for another hour and a half. Hour and a half of our shit, and we're letting it all out. Any questions that you have in the comments, and we missed you, Courtney.
Excuse me.
All of
thank you for the compliment. How sweet.
Thank you.
I don't know who the Facebook user is.
I don't either. It's not coming up on my end
I can't
either. But
see.
whoever you are,
Whoever you are, tell me who you are.
Give us your name. Want to know. Stay tuned. We'll be right back after these short messages, though.
Bye, guys.
In just a second. We're going to go to break in just a second. Just a second. Me, Mitzi. Hey, Mitzi.
Oh, there you are. Hi.
We're just going to hang out for just a little bit.
With big energy shifts spinning every which way, where can you turn for clarity and guidance? Turn to world-class psychic, medium, spiritual advisor, and trance channeler Christina Bloom. For more than 20 years, Christina has been helping people find clear answers to life's dilemmas. As an author, public speaker, and radio and podcast host, Christina reaches audiences around the world. You can find her books, Intuitive You and Wisdom for the Age of Ascension, in online stores, and listen to her show, Be the Change, right here on WLTK. Christina offers private psychic readings as well as psychic gallery sessions for business functions and private parties. Schedule your private psychic reading, group function, or reach Christina to speak at your event at psychicchristina67@gmail.com. That's psychicchristina67@gmail.com, or visit her website, christinabloom.com.
And we're back.
Whoa.
Your favorite night owls.
Yeah.
If you're just tuning in, my name is Caden. This is my lovely wife, Allisa. We are Twisted Ascensions on our podcast, but we are also Southern Ascension with our supernatural group that we do. We don't just cover ghosts, we cover extraterrestrials, cryptids, you name it. We've either dealt with it or heard about it or at least researched it. We love everything.
And if we haven't, then we would love to.
Yeah,
so
if you got a topic, let us know for sure. Oh, man. So what we were doing is what we were talking about.
We were unpacking the last couple of months of our lives.
Yeah, the last couple of months of our lives has been wild. So we went through me losing a finger. Her mom's cancer has been improving. The tumor has shrank. Mm-hmm. The Coliseum, though, ultimately it ended out of our control. We did end up, though, going to talk to the mayor again in person and just trying to see who owns what. And that's when we found out that the city of Corinth does own it, but it's in care of the Corinth Arts Council people. That the board members, they run it. And I understood what he was talking about. I was like, can you not just make them like, this is money, this is tourism? Because he was on board with it, because he's like, this is money for downtown. Like, you're bringing in people to downtown. It's going to help the restaurants around, the B&Bs around, mm-hmm. everything. He was on board.
Oh, they were. They was excited.
Yeah, he was. But, you know, he's like, there's just a lot of chaos going on with the Coliseum. But here's you a list of places that City of Corinth owns that we want you to look into.
He was like, we would love for you to come to here and here and here.
So we did. We entered the Coliseum, and our post about it was basically, you know, we have a couple of things in our pockets, and it's going to take a couple of months to get an answer for those. Mm-hmm. And we did such. We did work on that. Here's where the bummer part comes in, though. These historical places that he wanted us to check out, their directors are also members of the Art Council. So,
well, let's just be blatantly, because we were told that we didn't have to hold back. They are members of the Art Council, but they are also very small-minded, small-town individuals. Yeah. And they automatically, it did not matter when they had a spreadsheet in front of them with
a projected profit.
It wasn't even that. Some of them were actual profits that had been made.
Well, the profits, yes, were slim at the beginning, but the mm-hmm. projected profits on
what had been made.
Yeah, if they would help network mm-hmm. where it would go.
And they were more concerned about what the local churches were going to think. Yeah. Like, that didn't matter.
That's when we got the full story about
tax dollars.
The tax dollars, and the museum had tried to do paranormal events as well. I didn't agree with the way that they ran it. Mm-hmm. I've made that very vocal over the years of how it should have been ran to make it a little bit easier and better for public. But they ended up getting shut down and short-lived, because after they invited the Tennessee Wraith Chasers to come and do an event, a bunch of the churches around decided to protest. So that got shut down pretty quick. And that was what they were kind of leaning towards, is like, we don't want it to happen again. We don't want it to happen again. And even though we told them, like, hey, you don't have to worry about that, because we would deal with the backlash and the way that we did things, X, Y, and Z. So there's no room for anybody to say that any shenanigans was going on, because there wasn't. But yeah, so Corinth, Mississippi.
Can suck my big toe.
Oh my goodness. They are just, as of right now, until some younger, more open-minded folks getting to these positions, it's just a no-go for anybody that is a lover of the paranormal or haunted history type stuff. Because we even, and it wasn't just us, actually, it was 2 other people that pitched a haunted tour of just walking around to these historical places and give you the actual facts of that location, some of the haunted rumors, mm-hmm. just for Halloween, and it got shut down.
But even like some of the stuff that they did that it was not paranormal related, that like we had worked within the city and helped with for free, just because I thought it was cool that they were doing it to preserve the history of it. And most people in this field love things like that. And when you get to see a town actively doing it and people and volunteering for it, it's really cool to see. So I was like, yeah, I want to be a part of that, like right now.
Yeah.
So we did, and it was really cool to watch. But they don't even do that anymore. Like, they've stopped.
Yeah.
So many things. Take us out of the equation. They have stopped so many things in that small town that would have been great to get the youth involved in the historical side of that amazing little town. And they've just shit all over it. Just shit all over it.
Like you said, I mean, take the paranormal out of it. You just look at the history and these historical homes that desperately need donations and the tourism to come inside, like need it.
Yeah.
And,
no, I agree.
And they just, unless it is, and I do have to be careful how I say this, unless there's a particular group doing a particular thing, it's not gonna happen.
I think what this saddest part to me is, and maybe somebody inside this field can resonate with what I'm about to say, because I know not everybody can, and that's cool too. That's awesome. You know, everybody feels differently about kids in this field, and however you feel, I respect completely.
Because we've been on both sides.
Yes. So like I said, once again, I respect it completely, and I'm not trying to shit on anybody's beliefs on that. This has nothing to do with that. But I got to see some kids come through and do it just to walk through things with us, right? And we broke one of our rules. Like, I'll just go on and say it. We did, and I could not help it. And I don't think Caden could either, because this kid was so excited. And we knew realistically he was going to be safe. Like, we knew that. And so we broke one of our own rules. And his big brother was old enough to come. And he was literally like, 2 years too young or something like that. But he was still too young for what was on the paper. And we let him come anyway.
Yep.
And we're like, look, we'll let him come, but your mom has to stay on the grounds. So she did. She sat in her car for hours like a trooper and was so happy to pay for him to get to come. Fast forward, you know, at the end of the night, these two kids had the freaking time of their life. They were so excited. And what was more exciting to me was not just that they were excited about what we were doing, but both of these kids were from this town. This is their hometown. And multiple times they said that they had learned things they did not know about their hometown. And both of them were so excited to go to the other historical places in their own hometown. Well, they were asking each other, well, when we tell Mom, do you think she'll take us over there and we can pay like the $5 and do the tour on a Saturday? Like, they were so excited. These weren't even tourists. These were kids from the hometown that we had just gotten excited about the historical part of that town. They took that away. And there's not very many ways. And this is what I was getting at with this. There's not very many ways, I don't feel like anymore, that historical societies can get teenagers involved with that and help them realize how important that is for their hometowns. And we were introducing a way, I feel like, to get their foot into that. Because if that's how you have to get them to understand how important the history is of their hometown, so be it. If that's what gets them to be interested in it and realize how important it is. Because by the end of the night with us, in 3 hours, those two kids had learned things about their hometown they had no clue about. Outside of the paranormal, they had just learned facts about that hometown. And then they were so excited because they also learned that there were other places they could go on their own and just walk around.
That were linked. And learned that, you know, the builder, Mr. Liddon, that built the Colosseum, that bought and built it, he also built a lot of the other historical homes in Corinth. And to make those connections of like, that's the same God that did this and did this and did that. And whoa. I mean, dude.
It was so cool to watch. It was just cool to watch. Because you don't see a lot of kids get excited about that, but they were. But it was because they had a personal experience to link to any other knowledge that they got. So it was just different for them. Yeah.
I mean, and Robert, you're right. Society does not want the closets open and skeletons to fall out. And it's been a couple of months since we've tried to have contact with anybody in Corinth involved in this stuff. We've just kind of sat back and watched and paid attention. We did find out, though, not too long ago that the Colosseum is back open, but it is a privately rented venue. So
it's for ceremonies, pageants, receptions. Things like that.
So you have to pay for the entire building, which I don't know if they bumped the prices up or not, but you have to pay for the whole building, and it has to be underneath their standards. And then they get a percentage of whatever they sell. I'm assuming, or the seat cost tickets. If you sell tickets, they get a percentage of it. But completely unrealistic for us to do an event. Like if we were going to do a Paracon, which is what we had told them we wanted to try to do there, like that was the perfect place. And they could make a lot of money because downtown Corinth, if you've never been, you should go and just walk or at least Google it as a sky view. There's a lot of locations nearby. It's right there. It's a great place to have one, but oh gosh,
we could sit here all night.
We could sit here all night
and rehash the fact that we got.
It's not so much that I'm aggravated that we got screwed, because we did. I'm aggravated that Mississippi doesn't have a lot for anybody that is outside the all-American norm. You have a few Comic-Cons that go on in a yearly or whatever, bi-yearly, yearly, I think. You have a couple that are good, but unless you're in the deep south part of Mississippi, you have nothing. Once you get to central and north, like there's nothing to do. Nobody wants to come here to do anything because there's nothing to do. And when it comes to the paranormal side of things, the nearest location is Holly Springs for us to investigate, other than clients and a couple of gyms that we know.
Now there are places in other states that are actually closer to us to get to than for us to drive from where we are located to Holly Springs. We could get to 2 other states quicker from our house than we could to the location in Holly Springs.
True. Facts.
Like that's just the truth. So at our location, which we are in Northeast Mississippi, so our location, the closest place inside of our home state for us to go, other than Holly Springs, is 5 hours away? Close to it. Like that's a given that you can go and you can go and get into if you want to pay a fee.
Yeah.
Like that's wild to me, because we have so many friends in so many states that can like hop in their car and literally go in an hour and be 2 or 3 places if they wanted to be. Some people just 30 minutes.
I mean, some towns have 3, 4, 5 locations.
Yeah.
And I know it's literally we're just sitting there saying, oh me, woe me, I get it, boo-hoo us, wah, we're just griping. But it's just frustrating because for 5 years, that was our goal.
And we started this out 5 years ago on foot.
Yes, on foot. When I tell you, for
Sweating and
5 years, 5 years.
We was like, Callie will think this is funny. We look like vacuum salesmen when we were
facts.
with our backpacks.
Facts.
For
5 years, we worked and worked and worked on Alcorn County to let us in, just to test us. Didn't have to open it up to the public. Put us on a year-long probation. We'll sign contracts. If at any point you don't like what we're doing, you don't like how we're wanting to go about events, that's cool. We'll walk away. Just give us the chance. And that's how we had to go about it. And to be kind of just let down for something that didn't even have anything to do with us. It's not that anybody got hurt at our events. It's not that somebody said that there was a demon there. It's not that we beat somebody up or somebody broke something. Like it was the dumbest of shit. It was the dumbest of shit.
It really was. It was the epitome of small town bullshit, though.
Yeah.
Like it quite literally was the epitome of small town bullshit. And we literally got wrapped up in some small town bullshit that we had no intentions of getting wrapped up.
If you don't know what the term, and most everybody in here knows us and is close to us, the small town politics, we got our firsthand dose of the ins and outs of that.
And why we don't belong
why we don't belong in like an elite socialist type club.
This is probably way out there, but if our world was ran like The Handmaid's Tale, I would not survive. Like I do not belong. No, undoubtedly I know. Everybody's probably like, what the hell? I know you could. because you're built differently than I am. So like if you had to, you could. I would die. They would have me on the wall within like the first hour and a half of taking over like wherever I lived. I would be on the wall.
All right, Handmaid's Tale.
You would. I think you would be okay, but
No,
I could not do the politics like the way that they have to.
I would quite literally be Carol, Walking Dead.
You
that
think
would
so?
be me. I could bullshit my way through a lot of stuff. But best believe there's gonna be some shady stuff going on that you don't know about.
You're gonna be doing some things behind the scenes.
Oh yeah, it's going for sure. But that's where we're at with the haunted tours in Northeast Mississippi. We did reach out to a couple of other locations outside of Alcorn, a couple of different homes, a couple of different museums, a couple of different
we got voted on
houses. Yeah, we did get voted on one,
and it was
hell. We'll say Jay Seno voted. We met with them because we'll just throw it all out there. While we were gone, guys, the producers that we used to work with, Mark and Amy with 6 Shooter Studios, reached back out. They want to film us again. So they're like, give us some locations. Well, at the time, we still had the Coliseum.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, well, we got the Coliseum, and I named off like 4 of the locations that we were trying to work on.
And they wanted us to go ahead and go talk to them.
Yeah, go ahead and go talk to them, investigate a little bit so that if...
It was when they wanted to film.
Yeah, basically. Like they had 1 or 2 weeks into June, early July. That was like, as of right now, we only have those unless... I think Amy was trying out for a role or Clark won. One of them was trying out for auditioning. If they got the role, then we were going to have to wait until later in the year or next year to film. If they didn't, then we're going to film. But luckily, fortunately for them, but still an unfortunate situation, we got turned down everywhere we went. And it's not, I started to think that it was just us. Like, did they hear about us? Did they hear about the Coliseum? Did they know us previously? And so we just called them all back and we're like, listen, no bullshit. What is the real reason why you said no or that we got turned down? And it was because apparently there has been 2 to 3 other paranormal teams in the last 3 years that have called all of these locations and wanted to go in and did it on a very unprofessional way. And when they were turned down, acted asses, basically.
You are such an adult.
Oh, I was about to say a bunch of F words, but I'm not going to do that. Oh, that was hard. Todd, I deserve a raise for that.
I was sitting here cracking up, and everybody probably thought that I knew something they didn't know.
There's been 3 teams, apparently. I did not ask for names because that's none of my business. I want to know because the nosy me wants to know. I don't think they would have
told us anyway.
But I didn't ask because it's none of my business. I was just like, okay.
We didn't act like they expected us to. That's how we learned all this.
Yeah. I was like, okay, I understand where you're coming from. And then they went on to the spiel that we've been hearing for the past 5 years of, we don't want paranormal teams in here because although we do have weird things going on, as soon as you put haunted on there, then it's going to attract the wrong crowd. Mm-hmm. We're already having issues with people breaking in and vandalizing and damaging locations. And I'm like, look, I get it. I understand. Trust me. Televised paranormal shows piss me off more than anything else in this world because of that reason. It's not because they're fame and fortune and they're getting paid to investigate. It's because anybody can watch these shows, right? You see the bullshit that they're doing. Like you just walk in, you got a $30 EMF meter that you don't even understand why it was built in the first place, but you're using it, and you have this $300 camera, and you're just going to go break into these locations to film
with your headlamp on.
And that's what these shows ultimately project, is that anybody can do it. It's easy to do. So guess what? One weekend, little Sally Ann watches a paranormal show and is like, I want to do that. Sally Ann and her friends go to a graveyard and start doing stuff.
They're breaking headstones by accident. Somebody breaks their ankle.
They're just being disrespectful in general. Well, then guess what? That's not enough anymore. Now Sally Ann's friends are like, hey, I know of this funeral home.
Mm-hmm.
Dead people are always in there, so it's got to be haunted. So they break in. And then guess what? Now here comes the slew of legal issues that people like us and other people in the chat that have done investigations or have looked for locations to try to do investigations. That's the problem that we're running into, is that this field is honestly, this field is a joke now. It has been turned into a joke. You got people that only are in this field to try to be famous. You got these TikTokers that use these little apps to stream, and people pay for it. That's cool. Go you. But what you're doing to the real researchers is horseshit.
You're making it very difficult for us to do what we set out to do in the beginning. And it's not just us. There are people that are old enough to be my grandparents that are in this field. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. It's the truth. But they have earned the right to be able to do what they made a pathway for the rest of us to do. And then there's these young people that are shitting all over it and making it impossible for the people who have busted their asses and gave up years of their lives in this field to conclude their research, to further it, to get it to a point where they can hand it to someone else because their health is bad. I mean, the list goes on and on and on. It's not just about getting into haunted freaking locations. It's ridiculous.
I mean, it's all around. It's bad raps have been given to paranormal investigators. And oh my God.
Boy, that was...
Wow, words are difficult tonight.
English is a difficult language, babe. It'll get you every time.
Investigators, since the beginning, have always gotten a bad rap. We know this. There's always going to be some bad apples. Absolutely. However, with the rise in social media apps and outlets and how easy it is to do things like CGI and Photoshop and editing your own video to make your own episodes, all amazing things. Don't get me wrong, used appropriately. But when you're falsifying evidence, when you're falsifying history or trying to change history, and when you are breaking into these locations or not asking permission to just get a couple of views, because that's what the paranormal field has basically turned into. It's a pay for view, not pay per view. It's a pay per view. You get paid per view that you get, whether it be YouTube, whether it be TikTok, other media. I think even Facebook has something like with the little stars things. Like you send people money just for them.
Facebook has a pay.
I think they do. It's like you
so
send stars to people.
Man. I don't pay nobody for nothing on the internet.
However, things like that are great when they are used appropriately. However, you have all the bad apples now and all the people who are just wanting to get rich quick, basically. So all they want to do, they want to get in the field because it's popular again right now. And why is it popular? Because everybody wants a jump scare. What's a good way to get a jump scare? Fake evidence. How do you fake evidence? Well, if you have a cell phone now, a smartphone, it'll take you 5 minutes to create something that you can post on TikTok or post anywhere and say, you know, I have a demon in my house, blah. Well, guess what? Now we have a problem because you're teaching these younger, not even younger kids, you're teaching new people within the field, old, young, new people within the field that they don't have to do the hard work to get to where the veterans in this field, like Jay Prather, I'll even say Brian Riley has been doing this for 20 plus years. You got our buddy Jason Fife and Craig have been doing this for years. Even Nicole and Mr. Todd have been doing this for years. They had to do the legwork.
That's what I'm saying. The people like that, like we'll use Todd as an example. People like Todd. People like Todd made it possible for you and I to sit here and have this conversation with people.
Yeah.
Right? Like when Todd got in this field, this was not a thing. And so now you have this certain group of people, and I'll be like Caden, and we won't make it age. We'll just make it all age inclusive. How about that? New people in this field see what he's talking about, and what I call it clickbait, just clickbait shit, and it's stuff people just post on their page. And if you don't know any better, and all you've seen is what's advertised on the media on TV, then you think that these people are doing what it's okay for you to do. So the old church right down the road, and you get your friends, y'all go get you a few pieces of equipment on your mom's credit card from Amazon, and you take off. So what happens when one of your friends breaks their leg and now your parents are trying to sue this historical location for medical bills? And they have to shut their doors because they've lost their federal funding, and they can no longer remain on the historical society because they had to spend their money in a lawsuit because privileged people decided it was okay to just come into their establishment, and they can't let other people who took their establishment seriously and gave back to their establishment or did things for their establishment come in anymore because they can't stay open. Because that's just one example of 1,000.
We could do a whole show on paranormal thieves, and we will one day, but that's just one way to really piss us off. And Mitzi and Robert and Don and Brian and everybody else that are watching here that I know, you guys that are investigators, y'all been doing this for quite a few years as well.
Yep.
And we all have one thing in common. We got into this field because we wanted to know what was on the other side, or we wanted to understand why this phenomenon was happening. It wasn't to get famous. It wasn't to get on TV. It wasn't to get some gold and silver plaque from a social media app. Like, it wasn't.
No, but I will say, if you ever meet me and you ask me to sign something for you, I would squall.
Oh, facts.
I would cry.
Y'all want Alyssa to boo-hoo? Just be like, oh my God, I love you. Can I please have a hug?
Because some of y'all, and there's some of y'all watching that have had to send me review messages, and you know exactly what I am talking about. Because
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
I can't do it. And if I had to meet people in person, because there's no way. I'm not built for that kind of life. I couldn't do it. We don't want it. I could not. Caden would have to do it on his own. Y'all find me hiding in the truck somewhere.
I know we have talked about, we do work. They're a legitimate production company. They do a lot of great things. But when I tell you that the first time that I met them when I worked at my job at Hobby Lobby. I mean, it was just by weird circumstance. And at that time, I was like, hell yeah, film me. I want to get famous. Yeah. Let me make some money. No. First time we filmed with it, that first time, being filmed for that type of stuff.
It's not a joke.
Yeah, it was kind of I don't like this.
I think in both of our minds,
I don't think I could do this.
We really thought that they were just going to do what we did and have a video camera. And I really think that's what I thought the extent of it would be. Having to stop because they're changing batteries. And when you're investigating, you can't just stop, right? So they're fumbling way back here and you can't even see them because it's pitch dark where you're at. So you can't see them, but you can hear them. And you're 20 foot away, right? And you have a bunch of stuff happening and you're trying and hoping that stuff just hangs on long enough for them to get their stuff back up and go. The whole thing is exhausting. It is exhausting. And then we went through hours where they were filming us and nothing was happening. Yeah. In the middle of Mississippi summer. Yeah.
And then, in an open environment. And it's real, the whole. Now, they never once, I will say this, and anybody that wants to look on their page or anybody that wants to meet them, please meet them because they are two of the greatest people I've ever met in my life.
They are.
But sweet as pie. It's not that they wanted, can you do this and make it sound scary? Let's turn this light off so it looks scary. No, they were, can we turn the lights on because this is too much? It was just them two filming us. So anybody out there that is an actor or actress, whether you're in the field or not, kudos to you for having a bunch of cameras all over you and a boom mic that hits you in the head if you turn your head too quick.
We only had one of those.
We just had to do one. And let me tell you, that was enough for me to realize, I can do this.
In a very short.
Yeah.
It's not.
Filming with them, I can handle now that I'm older and we've done podcasts. I've gotten over like the jitters of talking and not looking stupid.
Yeah.
But I also know filming with them, it's on my term or on our terms.
Yeah.
Not on anybody else's terms. So we're not signing contracts. They're not like, we want to make this into the scariest thing ever. No, it's like, we're bored. We need to put a little something out when we're not acting in movies. Do you guys want to film? Yeah, why not?
What I think was really cool about it is you guys, the ones of you that are still here, that were here at the beginning of the show, you've heard us talk about us living in small town in the South, and they are a very small production company in the South, right? So they took a big gamble doing that, and let me clarify this.
They had only done country music videos at the time.
Backwoods country music videos.
Who he has now blew up.
He's doing good.
He's doing really well.
He is. But nonetheless, they didn't want BS on their screen because this was something that they wanted to be taken serious because nobody in the South had done it. And they didn't want this to be a joke. Like, this wasn't a joke to them. They spent their own time, their own money. And if anybody knows what production and stuff costs, then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Because there was, how many of us was there that they filmed? Like, we all had interviews. We all had hours of drive time. They had so much footage that those two individuals had to sit and go through. It was literally about 32 hours worth of straight just footage. And they made...
it was, realistically, it was probably a solid 24
hours of footage.
24 hours of footage. But when you're two people and you have to go through two different cameras at different times, so they're right there, 24 hours is turned into 48 hours.
Yep.
So now you got 48 hours worth of stuff to just go through to try to find something that you've never looked for before, because neither one of them knew really what to look for. So they're sending me stuff and I'm sending them, I'm going through our evidence and sending them stuff like, hey, look on your camera or go to this timestamp and see if you caught anything at the same time. It's a lot. And it took, everybody's like, oh, it was just 2 episodes that we filmed Saturday and Sunday. We filmed Saturday and Sunday, 1 episode, 2 episodes. But it took
a year
to release them. And it's not because they didn't know what they were doing. Trust and believe. They did. But
that was their money.
Yeah, their money, their time. Both of them were actively trying to do other they're working on a couple of different shorts. They're working on a couple of different music videos.
One of them was in a TV show during all of that.
Yeah, Amy had just signed with The Purge. So she was in it.
For AMC.
Clark was in Musically. He was in a lot of stuff. And then both of them.
They had some stuff with Morgan Freeman.
Yeah, they had like a couple
all
of
that was going on at the same time.
Yeah, so it's a lot. And just so you know, just for a half a day shoot with any production company, really, like on average, is about $1,000. So just think about that. Like 5 to 6 hours is at minimum $1,000. And they shot us for free because they just wanted to practice and do something different.
They did. And they sent it to some indie film fest and it done pretty well.
I think it
was a shocker because of where it came from.
The Sun Festival, like it placed 3rd. It was really cool.
None of it was for monetary gain. That's what the point of all of that was. Like, none of that was a monetary gain thing. It was 2 people collaborating. Well, it was a group of us, but it was 2 groups collaborating because, here they were a production company from the South that they had never seen anything like what they could do with us.
And we wanted to do it so that people could see that it's not just scary. It's not demons and Satanism and all.
It wasn't what you've seen on TV.
No, it's not the jump scares. It's real people doing cool stuff.
Hours and hours of cool stuff with a lot of sweat and bug bites and hurt feelings and curse words and all the things. It is not like what you see on TV.
So I'm saying, like, all the teams that I know of that film their own stuff and produce their own episodes, good on you guys, because I have trouble even trying to make a TikTok of just 4 pictures, but trying to do like episodes like that, there's nothing wrong with it. What I have an issue with is when you're putting out fake stuff just because you want to get famous, or when you're falsifying what your intentions are just to get more views. That's what I have issues with, and that's when I take offense to stuff. I have been asked on numerous occasions, I don't know if Alyssa has or not, but I have been on numerous occasions been asked, hey, production company is talking to me and I got to have somebody that knows how to do this. Do you want to come and pitch yourself for this TV show? No, thank you. No, thank you.
Do you remember when I got the email about the Psychic Kids show?
Yeah.
From A&E with Chip Coffee?
Yeah.
How you going to say I don't know if Alyssa's ever gotten?
Well, I meant like that was for you and Asher.
Like I accused you though. Yeah. I was like, did you do this?
Yeah. But I meant like some of your other friends that since you've been friends with them, like later on they've been on TV shows. Mm-hmm. Like I didn't know if they've ever like, hey, they're looking for people.
It's never been a hey, they're looking for people. I have been asked to come do things with people. Like I don't have a medium. Can you come do this? And I'm like,
it's one of those things where
that's a no for me, buddy.
It's not. You look at our Facebook page right now, it's deader than a doornail. Has been since we redone it. Sorry about it. But it's not because we're not doing anything. Trust and believe we're doing stuff and we're talking to people. We've just learned that
we don't advertise what we do until it's solidified.
Yeah. We don't do that anymore. And also we're kind of, you can call it childish or not, but you can, call it childish. I'm being petty about it. I'm letting these people that want to get famous, so they put themselves fully out there. And I'm not talking about just the stupidity that comes out of their mouth. I'm talking about, if you're a woman, let me show my body off to get all of these people to watch me.
Caden.
It's the truth though. Look at some of these, I don't really want to call them bigger filmmakers or production type teams.
But that sounded like you were kind of bashing. I'm just being honest. It sounded like you were kind of being a little harsh if they're in the field and they're
not if they're just pretty and that's like, just what they're comfortable wearing. I'm literally talking
dressing sexually.
No, I'm literally talking about like intentionally. I can't say on here. You know what I'm talking about.
Yes,
being overly sexual. But
are you saying like because so we can't say a name. But if you're female and you're in this field and you know that you are bullshitting your way through. Mm-hmm. And physically, that's all you have? Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay, but honest question. As a woman, how do you figure out that that's what's happening, though?
Because I'm, unlike other people where somebody, like when the stuff came out about Stormy Daniels, it was a big thing.
Right.
I didn't know who she was.
No, we got on live one night. Yeah. I remember that. Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know who she was, and I'm like, everybody's talking about, Star becomes paranormal investigator. And I'm like, and you gotta pay the bills.
Corn.
Something.
Corn.
I'm gonna say corn. On Star. On Star. Saves your life. Anyway, I did not know who she was. But most people, when they heard that, that's all they associated with her with, and they would not take her serious. Just based on that.
Right.
She dressed very
provocative. By most standards, it was by most standards provocative.
Okay, so what did I do? Instead of just passing judgment, any of the lives that she did or put out in videos, I went and watched them. And the first 3 that I watched, I was cool. I'm like, hey,
right.
She's really into it. She's
saying things that are serious. I remember because I watched them too, and I was like, damn, girl did read.
The verbiage that she was giving out, even people that have been in this field for 6, 7, 8 years or more don't even know it.
I know.
So I was like, okay, yeah, for sure. And then as soon as popularity
grew,
things changed. And that's when I was like, you know what? Had nothing to do with how she looked and how she dressed, but it had everything to do with now I know who's feeding you lines. Not her, just in general. I used her as an example. Like in the end, it seemed like she wanted to play more than she wanted to take it seriously.
Right. She wanted to be took serious to get in there. Yes. And then once she got in there, she was like
playtime. To me personally, my opinion only. But with females that are wanting to get famous in this field, not her, just in general, the 4 that I have watched all have the same thing in common. They started on a team with people who had been in the field far longer than them and did way more research than them. So they just picked up on what their teammates.
So they just...
Yes, much like what we did.
Yeah.
You know, you get with somebody, they know what they're talking about, you pick up on it. Yeah, but you don't do your own research and understand what this means.
You just have the verbiage and a little bit of...
You got the script, but you have no idea what the context is.
Right.
So, but what happens is they get a little bit too big for the britches and teammates start falling off or they break off and go do their own thing, right? Yeah. So now they're by themselves or they're with somebody else that is a rookie or hasn't been in the field as long as them. So what happens? You're going to see a complete difference because one or two things is going to happen with the 4 that I've seen.
Okay. 2
of them, nothing changed. It was the same stuff, the same explanation, the same experiments, the same excuses or the debunking methods. Okay. Nothing changed. They never grew.
There was never any growth inside the field. Okay.
The other 2, however, because they didn't have anybody there to correct them when they were wrong, or because they didn't have anybody there to kind of say, hey, that's actually not the correct way to use this piece of equipment or to do this experiment. Can I show you a better way to do it? Instead of doing that, they started reverting back. So they dumbed themselves down. When you dumb yourself down, you can't fool people that have been in this field and have done heavy research in this field because they're going to look at you like you are a joke.
Right.
Like, you know, you're making a fool of yourself.
Right.
You're just wanting views. So then what do they have to resort to if they want to stay relevant? It's no different than our celebrities.
Okay. I'm with you. So, but I'm saying what you've just verbalized is it sounds like it could be a long process, but the way that you made it sound at the beginning, that's why I made you say all that. Because at the beginning of this, it made it sound like you just kind of seen what they were wearing and were like, okay, I know what you're doing.
No,
I don't want people to think that that's what you were meaning. So
I'm glad you asked me to
explain
further go into that because no, it's not about what you wear. I don't care if somebody.
I know that, but
I don't. I'll say it to you. I don't care if you investigate in your birthday suit. I don't care. I really don't. I'm not going to watch it, but I don't care if you do that. Investigate however you want. Investigate in whatever you want. What I'm referring to is women and men
a resort
using their looks or using their physiques just simply for views because they have no idea what they're talking about when it comes to the paranormal. Absolutely not. And that I will say that is my opinion, but I will also say that is the vast majority of the veterans within this field that
we've spoken to.
That we've spoken to.
Yeah.
I've ghosted naked. I've ghost hunted naked. All right then.
Technically, I have too, but it was not because that was what I was intentionally
just live in a haunted house so
doing. But you know, it has happened.
Anyways, all about that. Just to say that
it's polluted. It's always going to be polluted. I will say that. I don't want to be. I see so many people on a daily basis on my timeline with what we just said. I won't deny it. It's very polluted, but we all know it. It's not something that's hidden anymore. It's very obvious. It's more obvious now than I think it ever has been in the last 3 years. COVID gave people a lot of audacity and bravery, and it has grown. And it's not going anywhere. It doesn't matter how hard we push. It's not going to go anywhere. So what I have come to, I guess, just come to terms with in this field, like the field will never be what it was when Caden and I first started out doing what we're doing. It will never be that way again for us. It won't. There are things that I will never do that it seems to be are steps you have to take to be part of that ball club now, I guess. And if that's if that's what it now takes to be part of it, I don't want to be part of it. I have no desire to be part of it. I'm good. Thank you. Anyway, enjoy. However, I'd be damned if I let that keep me from doing what we enjoy doing. I mean, I'll find a way to do what we like to do. So, like, there's that. I will say that it's gonna happen, but I'm not gonna fall into what it takes to become a certain level in this community. Like,
we spent far too many years. I think we can both agree. Our entire lives, we spent way too much precious time trying to evolve ourselves into something that other people
constantly
wanted to be around,
morphing to fit in.
To.
Yeah.
That when shit hit the fan 3 to 6 years ago, when everything hit the fan and we were just left with nothing and just had to look back on why everything happened the way that it did.
Yeah.
It was a rude awakening. I mean, one night, I know Alyssa wants to talk about like shadow working, and that's kind of part of it. What I'm talking about is we had to do some serious shadow work of why did we think this way? Why did we, when we went on this particular location, why did we act this way? But as soon as we left, we acted this way. Or why, when we're around this particular person, we feel this way, but when we're around this particular person, we feel this way. We let way too many people influence us to where anybody, and I've been honest about, Alyssa has too, have been honest about this.
I have probably been more honest, especially like at the last 3 years of my life. And if you know me, you know, like if you ask me, I will tell you. And I might leave you sitting there like, how in the hell did that girl just tell me all of that? And she's still just sitting here looking at me. Okay. I'm just being honest. But if you ask me, I'll tell you.
If you Google our names, Caden and Allisa Mask, and you scroll on the, I think Facebook still has like all of our stuff from RU Media and other places that we were asked to do interviews. If you go listen to those, like listen at your own risk, number one. Number two, you can't hold us accountable for it anymore because trust me, we already ate the crow. It tasted like crap and we threw it back out.
We didn't throw it back out.
We finished it and gagged through it. But going back and listening how we are now and how much we've learned over the years and going back and listening to how we thought back then, it is so blatant that we were not brainwashed, but heavily influenced, and we did not do our own research.
Oh, absolutely.
Did not do our own research.
No.
And if you go back and listen to them and you hear us talking now, like number one, yes, we probably do sound like bigger assholes now. We're just more passionate is all.
We're a little seasoned.
We're seasoned. But we
marinated.
Do not think the same way that we did back then.
No.
And it's because we were involved with a lot of different situations when it comes to spirits and elementals and other non-human. Let me steal that guy's quote: non-human biologics.
I will say this though. Well, go ahead. Well,
it's just we've dealt with things over the years, have met amazing people. You know, Ozzy Rob in here. I mean, opened up our brain waves to a completely different realm that we didn't even know was possible to access. And meeting everybody and working with so many individuals, it kind of taught us that, and it's my favorite saying, and I'll always say it, when you go to the library, stop getting just one damn book.
I agree.
Read the whole section in that area.
I will say that at this phase in this part of my life, I really do try to be who, like different parts of all of the people that I needed a couple of years ago in this field and what I was doing. And so I had one specific mentor who used a lot of tough love with me because she knew the way that my brain worked, because that's why she was my mentor. But she knew the way that my brain worked. She knew that was going to get me where I needed to be. So that's the tactic she used with me. That's not what she used with everybody that mentored under her, but that's what worked for me. So that's what she did for me. And my husband will say that that's just what works for me because I'm a stubborn ass. That's how I learn. And so, like, when I say I have to learn shit the hard way, I'm not being funny, although it is funny. If you know me in real life, it is quite funny because it's so true that it's sad. But, I had one that there were times where she was an ass to me because she had to be.
Yeah.
She was an ass to me because she had to be. She wasn't an ass to me because she was cocky. She wasn't an ass to me because she was arrogant. She wasn't an ass to me to hurt me. She wasn't at all. She was an ass to me. And even Mr. Todd, like, he knows with recovery, there are times where you're going to have a sponsor that's an asshole to you because it's what's in your best interest at that moment. Well, in this field, I'm not saying that we're assholes because
Carmen,
we
right?
deserve that. That's not what I'm saying. What I am saying is there have been times where it was very warranted because it was for someone's betterment, and very quickly they realized it either after they got hurt doing what they were told that was not in their best interest to do, or when the exact same thing that they were told was going to happen happened. If that comes out of mine or Caden's mouth, it is not because we are being arrogant or cocky. It is because we've probably done the dumb fuckery that you are wanting to do, and something happened to us when we were doing the dumb fuckery, and we don't want you to have to experience whatever happened to us.
Oh, you dropped 2 F-bombs.
Yeah, I know.
Ooh.
Sorry, Todd.
Ooh, the boss people gonna get you.
They're not gonna get me. They're gonna take the raise you said you wanted.
Oh, snap. Yeah. Yeah, there went. I just had to take my raise.
I'm just saying,
man, I needed it. Times are
always
hard.
messing with your money.
Times are hard right now.
It just never ends. Not even
a lot. Difficult. My gosh. See.
What? What happened?
Courtney already knows. She's like, it's all good.
It's almost
clever of dumb suckery. There's the word. Dumb suckery.
Yeah, there we go. Yes.
Dumb suckery.
I'm going to start saying the owl word. The sucker. How many lick? Never mind.
Oh my gosh.
Some people are probably.
Hooty hoo.
Yeah, some people probably don't remember that owl.
You're right. Well, not everybody in here. I know that there are age or older.
She said tough crowd. No, not for us. I am with you.
We're here.
I'm with you.
We're here. We're here for this. For sure. All right. So I think actually right now is the perfect time for us to go ahead and go to our very last break.
Yes.
Yeah. So wait, nobody go anywhere. Don't go anywhere. There's more dumb suckery when we get back right after these messages. Boss lady, take us out.
Are you looking for unbiased and uncensored paranormal and spiritual talk? At WLTK-DB.com, we offer several talk shows ranging from self-care to hauntings and everything in between. Find the shows and hosts on our website at WLTK-DB.com. You can watch them live or catch up on your latest favorites. While you're there, be sure to check out the store and pick up some of the latest station swag. Did you know we had a station blog, or that you can host your own show? It's all online at WLTK-DB.com. Looking to advertise? Check out our competitive pricing and let's get you noticed. WLTK Talk Radio has something for everyone. So be sure to stop by and say hello at WLTK-DB.com.
And we're back.
Sorry.
As Alyssa's choking, I promise you guys did not witness anything that was felonious. Felonious. There was no feloniousness going. But welcome back to the show, guys. Welcome to the murder. That is our thing, murder, because we love crows.
I see a poopaw.
Is poopaw in here?
I see a poopaw.
Where is? Right there. See that? Our fan bam from up north, Northern Ascension, shout out in the chat room, because I just synced them. Dawn and Meg were in here. They are our fan bam, along with their partners, Brian and Kevin. My big bros. We love them. And my big sisses. We love them. That is our chapter in Ohio. You should check out their page. They just went on an investigation not too long ago.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got another one that they're looking at doing as well. Any hootie, though. We're Twisted Ascensions, because in order to rise out of your own shit, you're going to go through some curves. So that's why we named Twisted Ascensions. Our Facebook page is Southern Ascension. That is where you can keep up with our investigations when we have them, with our random lives that we sometimes do. Most of the time we don't. But we do a little bit of everything.
The worst at the phone.
Yeah.
Like
it has been.
It's bad.
For 3 years, we've really just kind of slowed down on lives and not traveling, but traveling for our business.
Yeah, well, we travel for it, but we also try to throw in like personal stuff when we go places.
Yeah.
And make the best out of being gone.
It's been more about the experience than the business side of things.
Mm-hmm.
The personal experience, not the haunted experience. We'll put it that way.
But most of the time, it's both.
It is. We end up having a great time there, but
yeah.
we have better times on investigations when we have a better time beforehand.
Yeah.
So, some things to look forward to, though. You'll have to go back on this, words. Man, it's 10:30 here. I'm sorry, guys. We are in the hollers of Mississippi. So, it's going to take us a little bit to get used to this. However, if you missed portions of this live, let me get a little personal. If you missed portions of this lives, don't get upset. It's okay. It's okay. We all mess up sometimes. You just missed us.
You sound like a horrible infomercial.
You can go back and watch this live. All you have to do is go to WLTK-DB.com. That's their website. You have WLTK-DB Talk Show LLC now. Let me make sure I add that in there. LLC in there on the Facebook. Got the group, and then you got a page. Follow both of them. You can go on there and you can type in at the search engine bar Twisted Ascensions. That'll pull us up, or your other favorite podcast, because I'm telling you, there is a slew on WLTK-DB. Like, there is a slew. I don't care what you're into. You into healing? We got you. Mediumship? We got you. Cryptids? We got you. Hauntings? We definitely got you. All the other stuff? Definitely got you. Kelly's new show, I'm pretty stoked about, is numerology.
Yes.
A lot of people leave out numerology.
They do. And
They do.
I forget about that.
They do.
It's a whole study. It's actually quite fascinating.
I mean,
even if you don't want to study about it, you could read up on it.
There's other hosts, that cover it. I think has covered it before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure that Deidre has before as well. There's a couple of hosts that have covered it, but I mean, Kelly, that is like her peanut butter and jam.
Yes.
As her peanut butter and jam. We also have a lot of Todd and them have put in a new, unveiled a slew of new shows that I haven't even got to watch yet, but I'm telling you, if they're part of this family, they're going to be fantastic. Make sure you follow everybody. Give those likes. Tell Todd how much you appreciate him giving all of us a voice so that you guys can use your ears, and you might just, like Todd says, mess around and learn something. But
I'm excited for the new things that are on the station. It's not just the new shows. Like, we have a lot of new cool things on our end too. Like the chart thing.
Yeah,
it's really cool.
I don't know if you guys, I know a lot of you probably in here voted for us. Thank you so very much, by the way. But I do want to kind of take this time to give Todd a shout out real quick, because tell me what other boss man you know is like, hey, we're in this field. We'd like to compete. Friendly competition, yeah. How about I just reward you guys?
Yeah.
Let's do a little competition. Let your fans vote for their favorite podcasts on this on the app. You know, WLTK-DB has its own app, by the way. Forgot to mention that. You can go on there.
How dare you?
How dare I? There on the app or on the website, you click the little bars, go to chart, and you can vote. But hit the up button only. Let's not be petty. Let's not hit the down button. If you're a follower of our show, don't do that. It's all love. All love over here. Just hit a couple. Go through, hit all of them. I don't care. Hit everyone. Give everybody some love, because you know what? They deserve it.
They do.
They deserve it.
Everybody that works at this station or works for the station in any kind of way is phenomenal. And everybody I think we've ever dealt with has just been fantastic.
Yeah. And I'm telling you, it's even just you popping in on a show, even if it's not your gig, you popping in on a show and just saying, just wanted to stop in and say, hey, I'm telling you, it makes our day.
Yeah.
It makes our day.
It does. And I think it's like the dugout.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think it's good.
But a lot of great things are coming to the WLTK family. A lot of great things are coming to Southern Ascension. We have, once again, in true Caden Allisa fashion, once again, we are kind of switching things up, switching gears. We are venturing outside of your normal haunted locations. We are in contact with a new spot that is not new. It's not new to the field. It's not new to, well, it'll be new probably to a lot of the ghostly type people.
Poopah popping in.
But, Poopah. Hi, Poopah. But if you are a follower of extraterrestrials or, alternate beings, elementals, anything that is not like which when you say ghost, like what you think of, anything that's not that, if you're intrigued in that stuff, that's kind of where we're leaning more towards with this one location. It has a long-standing history of weird stuff. It's not that far away from us. It's right up my alley because of what it is, not the things that were experienced in it, but where and what it is. It's my jam. I'm stoked. Yes. But I'm hoping that he calls us back pretty soon so that we can get in there pretty soon. And
I mean, too, I was hoping to hear back today, but
yeah, that'll be one that we probably won't go live because where it's at and what it's in, we're not going to have service that far down.
Hopefully we'll have footage.
We'll film.
Yeah. I don't know how good it'll be that far down. I don't know.
But the goal is we're at least going to interview this guy. So if we don't do it live, we'll do like a pre-recorded and just
then
run it on here.
We can have a multiple show where we play the recordings, let you guys hear it, and then we discuss it, and
Yeah.
we can do that.
Yeah. So pretty excited about that. And we're kind of looking at things more on that side of topics because it's what we want to do. It's what we want to do. So
I want to footnote the experience of it. I'm not sure where I'm at as far as what experience I'm craving. I do know I want the footnote of the experience of it. I want to be able to sit and have a conversation. At least if I don't have any, I'm not going to be disappointed if I don't have any personal experiences, but I do want to get to sit down and experience time with people who have had those personal experiences. Like that's kind of what I'm easing into now. And it's a new position for me, I guess. I've never sat on that end of things, and I'm nervous about it, but I'm excited about it because I want to fully hear people.
And again, we're kind of in the stage of our life and in our marriage where personal experiences together matters more than anything for us. Like we cherish it more than anything within the field.
Yeah, it used to be our growth was a lot of separate growth in the field and within ourselves in the field.
But
and
separately,
then, yes,
for the bigger parts. Now we've kind of not mastered them, but we've come to terms.
We're good
we're
at a good enough place where it's good to come together and start going and harder
Yeah.
and learning together as a unit with what we learned our time separately. So
that's right. See, Aussie Rob knows.
Oh yeah.
Aussie Rob knows. But so we're gonna start doing more of those, and it's gonna be more for the experience with us. But don't get me wrong, it's not that I love going live so that all you guys can kind of watch and be entertained, because I know
I love taking people on adventures, because sometimes I wonder if it's like the only time that they would get to see something like that.
Exactly. Like take Kim. Kim's in Canada.
Right.
One day she may surprise us and come to the States. But chances are, for most people that are outside, like Aussie Rob has been to the States before, but most people who don't live around or don't have the means to travel, they're never going to get to experience this. So I do like to do lives and put it out there just so that you guys can experience it with us. And there have been times that we've gone live that our followers have actually kept us safe because we didn't see something and they did.
Or they were watching the weather where we were at.
Yeah, watching the weather and letting us know, like, hey, you better be careful. But now it's just more or less just having fun again with it.
Yeah, it's adventurous again. It's exciting again. It doesn't feel like a job anymore. And we got to a really bad place with that for quite a while, and then we got out of it when we were doing good. And then I think some of it is just the repetitiveness of it, and I think that's a necessary evil. I do agree, and I think anybody that is a veteran in this field would agree with that. Also, it's a necessary evil. The repetitiveness. It's very easy to get burnt out. It is, realistically. Everybody acts like it's not. Yes, it is. It's so easy to get burnt out when you're forking out money and you're forking out time and you're forking out miles and you're tired and you're exhausted, and it seems like for 6 months you've gotten absolutely jack diddly squat. Like it's easy to get burnt out. And we're human, we do. And we're very honest about it. Like I'll be like, no, I need like two months, bro. I'm tired. I don't want to.
I know I've been keeping count of the ones that I follow. I'm up to 10 teams and or individuals that have dropped out of the field.
I mean, it's real.
I mean,
and
burnout
then it doesn't help.
Burnout help. I mean,
if you want to talk about being real about it, not only that, realistically, I won't talk about politics at all, but I will say it's no matter what side of the fence you're on politically, there's no way that you're blind to the financial things that are going on right now. And a lot of people that have never even really had to struggle or worry are in positions now where they're having to. And so this is a hobby. And I'm just going to be quite frank. If it came between feeding my child and this, I'm out. That's it. Like, so there are a lot of people who I think were already in the beginning stages of feeling burnt out. And then a lot of the stuff with the money has hit. Yeah. And there are so many people who are at a new, unfamiliar financial place in their life that they're just like, I can't.
It's hard. It's hard.
I don't have it to give no more. Yeah. I can't do it. And I can't do nothing but respect it, because I mean, what else are you supposed to? Well, yeah, several times. But I mean, there's a lot of people who have hit that point and they were already 25 plus years in. Yeah. And they're just like, I can't, and I'm not coming back. And they're selling their shit and they're done and they're over it. And sadly, they won't come back. And I think that it's a perfect storm of things that have caused such a leap in numbers of that, like what you're saying. There's a big.
It's a lot. It's that mostly. Yeah. Just the burnout and the financial burden of it all. Yep. I mean, and the traveling. I mean, a lot of people
don't
forget about the travel part. I mean,
it's easy when you watch somebody's live and they're in the vehicle and you see an hour tops, of that live, because we've done it. But what you didn't see of us in that vehicle was the fact that we both worked that day before you seen us 5 hours later on the road looking like we were energized because we had slammed a bunch of energy drinks and we're driving 12 hours after getting up at 5 a.m. and going to work. At that time,
chain smoking like crazy just to stay awake.
And within the last year alone, we've both had to repair and deal with our health from the stuff like that. But you don't see that part of it. You don't see them dragging ass when they finally get where they're going. And then when all of it's over and they finally get home, they're literally exhausted, but they can't call into work because they used what days they had to go on the investigation. So, like, I mean, it doesn't take much.
We'll do a whole show on the financials and the preparations for investigations
and the aftermath. Like, even we won't even bring up the fact that you have to sit around and listen to all the shit you got. We'll just, I mean, you can take that out.
I'm right. I just wrote it down.
Yeah, she's right. Dawn said these places ask for your first child and your right leg to investigate on top of inflation. And she's correct. You still got to eat. You still got to have gas to get there. Yep. Most people have to use vacation days from their job to go do this stuff. And then you have places that don't book on weekends, so you don't have choice, right? If you're going somewhere like that and it's a Monday through Friday booking and that's it, that's all they book, you have to use a vacation day.
If you want to go, yeah.
If you're somebody that works, that then you don't have choice most of the time. And because you're losing money to go if you don't use vacation, and you're spending money to go. So you're losing both ways if if you're someone.
And Courtney's right. And it's not even a vacation. I mean, you have fun while you're there. Absolutely. But you're not going there to relax.
No,
you're going there to work. But we can talk about that.
What time is it?
On a later date. It is 10:42 according to my computer. Okay. That's a whole nother live. Because when I tell you, when I wrote that up there that we're the same goofy couple, but all new attitudes, I'm tired of playing nice. I really am. I'm tired of holding back. I'm tired of having to vet my thoughts to not upset certain people. I'm just tired of it. And it's not because I'm trying to be disrespectful or be ruthless or be petty or anything like that. It's just there are some things within the field and there are some things within married couple in the field that need to be said that nobody will say because they're so scared it's going to piss off somebody.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, the things that need to be said can be harsh. But I'm telling you, there's probably at least 50 people in the whole world, like out of the trillions of bodies on this sphere that we live on, there's at least 50 that need to hear it.
Yeah.
At least.
Well, I don't know. I could sit and talk all night about it. Like, we have another show, so, we'll be back. We will be back.
However, I think we're going to end the show just a little early tonight. It is 10:45 our time, but we got to go to sleep and we have to wake up at 3:00 in the morning because we are taking our son and one of his school friends to a swamp tour in Louisiana tomorrow.
So we have a 5-hour.
Yeah, we got a 5-hour drive
in the morning.
He opted out of a back-to-school party for an adventure instead, which we're cool for.
That's so
cool. We've never been on a swamp tour, so we're going on like this 2-hour swamp tour tomorrow in the Louisiana swamps. It's going to be a lot of fun. When we get done, if we have enough time, we're probably going to stop by the Natural Science Museum and let them just
play and do whatever.
Go nuts. And those of you who do know, don't bring back alligators. I'll try not to. Those of you that do know our child, yes, we will have him back on the show.
Because I think Courtney asked how he was. He's great. He started school a week ago.
Yeah.
Today was his first full week of school.
And loving it.
Yeah.
Loving it.
We're doing good so far.
But we will have him back on the show. He will talk probably cryptids because, as everybody knows, that and rocks is his favorite subject. Still is. So he will probably talk the entire 2 hours.
Yeah.
So we will have him back on. We have a couple of people that we want to bring on here to interview that some of you guys may know, some of you may not, but their stories and or there's like one team I'm looking at. I think that what they are doing, because you're just gonna have to wait. I'm
some
excited.
of them are shocking. Some of them are probably going to be like they're gonna be like, oh no, they didn't. Like, yes, we did. I'm like, oh. Then there's gonna be some people that are like, yeah, they did. Did you see what they did? Did you see that's
So we're gonna we're just excited.
Yes,
we're excited. And everybody's officially part of the murder. Whether you're listening live or if you went back and watched all the live again, or if this is months later and you're watching it, guess what?
You're stuck with us now.
You're stuck with us now. I'm telling you, this train wreck is only going to get fiery. I'm just kidding.
Just jump on and hang on.
Jump on, hang on. Find a water hose somewhere.
Yeah.
But no, we're going to have a lot of fun. I hope you guys enjoy listening to us. We love interacting with you. We love your questions. We love your comments. We just love that you love.
We love that you come here to spend time with us. Like,
right? You spend
it's
your
Friday night and you choose to come listen to us.
Right. Of all things and all people, us. But we're gonna have some if I can find the right ones, because I will not bring anybody on here that I don't know how legitimate they are with certain topics. But the plan is I do want to get a hold of some of my old colleagues that are very
Words are hard.
Yeah, respectful within cryptozoology, and now, you know, with the government, with the UAPs and stuff, like they've been involved in that since the beginning. I want to bring them on here and talk to them, and then we have some that abductees that we are friends with, and maybe just bring them on.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be great. Thank you guys so much for tuning in this Friday night. We'll be back next Friday, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yep, next Friday.
I think so, yeah.
I've got to send in the stuff because I completely forgot to send that to Stephanie. But next Friday, 9 p.m. Central Time to 11, which is, you know, we're getting out about 10 minutes early.
Yeah.
Yeah, conspiracy theories are no longer theories. They're there.
We're not crazy anymore. And now they're asking who had it on the Jumanji board and stuff. And I'm like, nobody. We've been telling y'all this was going to happen for years.
Yeah, absolutely. But a lot of great things are going to happen. So that's it for tonight, guys. May God bless you. May the gods be with you. Boss lady, take us on out of here.
Bye, guys.
See you next time.
The truth is here and now on WLTK-DB Talk Radio at WLTK-DB.com.